So go ahead, find a nice position on your spine. Take any variation that feels good for you. Kind of like Savasana, take up as much space as you want. And I'm going to stay seated just to kind of talk you through some things. As you make your way into a supine position, maybe draw the shoulder blades up underneath you. Maybe open and close the mouth, kind of shake out the jaw. And then find any variation of the legs. Legs can be out long, legs can be, bent. Maybe bring the soles of the feet together, knees go wide, kind of find that butterfly pose. That's going to create a little more space in the inner thighs. Or you can always take the opposite. Bring the knees together, feet go wide, and that might help you find a little more space in the low back. So just seeing what you need here. Finding any movements to start, and then whenever you're ready, you can kind of find some stillness. Allow the body to really soften, relax, letting the body get heavy, feeling the ground, feeling the earth underneath you. Giving kind of the body permission here to let go of any engagements in the muscles, giving the body some space to relax before we find some movement. And then you can start to carry that relaxation up into the mind. Just take some time here, see what's happening up there. See if you're holding on to any thoughts. You can always place your to-do list off to the side. Know that it will be there for you after class. It's always important to remind yourself that meditation is not, not having thoughts or having complete stillness in the mind. It's kind of about, not attaching yourself to thoughts. So kind of just watching the thoughts go by. But know the mind may attach itself to thoughts, may go down that rabbit hole. But if that happens, just being mindful of it, note it, and then bring it back. And then option today to find a focal point. So this could be the breath, something the mind can come back to focus on. Connecting with that nice rise and fall of the chest, of the belly. This could be a word, a phrase, maybe an intention for your practice, something you're working on physically, mentally. But just taking time here to, determine that focal point, because the mind will wander, but when it does, can you bring it back to that focal point? That one point of concentration. So for me, when I practice, I love connecting with the breath. So you'll hear me say a lot today, come back to the breath. Connecting with the breath helps the mind reset, helps the mind come back here, present with the body. So if it feels right, maybe start to find that nice rise and fall of the chest, of the belly. As you inhale, feel the body expand, sending oxygen to every cell of the body. And then as you exhale, feel the body softening, relaxing, letting go of the carbon dioxide, letting go of the waste. Connecting with the breath also slows the mind down, gives the mind space to reflect instead of react. So this is a great technique to use when you're in those stressful situations, in an argument, stuck in traffic, taking an exam, when things kind of get a little stressed. You can always take a couple deep cleansing breaths to help reset, to kind of clear the mind out, and give the mind space to reflect. So if you haven't set a focal point, feel free to do so now. And then go ahead, take a deep inhale in through the nose, fill up with your focal point, with your intention, whatever it may be. And then big open mouth exhale, side out, share it out. Beautiful. Let's take one more deep inhale in through the nose, fill up. Maybe hold the breath at the top. And then big open mouth exhale, share it off. And then today, option for your Ujjayi Pranayama breath. So as you inhale through the nose, seal the lips. And then as you exhale, take it back out through the nose, creating a slight constriction in the back of the throat. So kind of like a Darth Vader sound, kind of like this oceanic breath. So not only is this breath audible, the mind can listen to it, it can focus on it, but this breath also slows the breath down. But know if this technique doesn't feel right, no need to do it. Always let your breath come back to that normal rhythm, normal pace. And then you can stay here for as long as you want. Whenever you are ready, slowly reawaken. Maybe wiggle the fingers, the toes. Gonna roll the ankles, the wrists, let the head rock heavy side to side. Maybe take a nice full body stretch, reach the arms up overhead, point the toes, wiggle it out. And then you can go ahead, bend the legs, feet can come to the ground, or maybe start to float the feet. Knees can work towards the chest, maybe grab for the shins, the thighs. But feel free to slowly explore some movements. Kind of sway the knees side to side, maybe open and close the mouth. Just checking in, seeing how the low back feels. And we're gonna do some core work right away, really tapping into the side of bodies this morning. So arms can be cactus off at the side or out to a T. But I want you to feel the arms rooting down. And then as best as you can, start to bring the knees on top of the hips. Shins can kind of come parallel with your mat, and then start to flex the feet. And then check in with the low back. See if you're arching the low back. Try to engage the core, pulling the belly in, gently pressing the low back towards the ground. So just see how this feels. Noticing the core is definitely working to support the low back. And then you can stay here or take a big inhale. As you exhale, slowly let the legs hover towards the left. Don't have to go far here. Slowly bring the legs to the left side. And then as you inhale, bring the knees back to center. And then as you exhale, slowly let the legs gently fall to the right. So don't go far, listen to the low back. Inhale to center. Exhale to the left. Inhale back to center. Exhale to the right. Okay, let's do one more. Inhale, center. Exhale to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale to the right. And then inhale and come back to center. This time find your gentle twist. Let the legs come all the way to the left. And then let them rest on the ground. Don't be afraid to adjust. Maybe kind of slide the hips to the right. But finding a nice twist here. You can always slide a blanket, a pillow underneath the left thigh or the right shoulder. And then as you inhale, think about growing a little bit taller. And then as you exhale, gently twisting, breathing into the spine. Gaze can stay up, or maybe find the twist in the cervical spine, sending the gaze to the right. And whenever you're ready, slowly release, come back to center. And we'll take it over to the other side. Knees will fall to the right, slide the hips to the left, find your gentle twist. Don't be afraid to adjust. Place your pillow, your blanket underneath you. And then finding space here on the left side of the body. As you inhale, lengthening, growing tall. As you exhale, gently twist, maybe gaze to the left. So always remember, listen to your body over listening to what I say, right? So honoring what your body needs right now. can't do a posture right now, no worries. Focusing on what you need right here. Take one more deep inhale. Gently twist as you exhale. And then coming back to center, maybe knees to the chest or a nice full body stretch. Lengthen, wiggle it out, open and close the mouth. Good, and then we're gonna come into tabletop right away. So we're gonna do some core work from tabletop position. So you can rock yourself up or roll to one side. We will be here for a little bit, so it might feel nice to grab a blanket and place it underneath the knees. But once you're in tabletop position, just take some time here to explore. Maybe sway the hips side to side. Maybe kind of roll the hips, go one way, go the other. And then you can stick with the organic movement, or feel free to find cat-cow. For cow pose, lower the belly, lift the heart, maybe find a little back bend. Gaze can stay down, or maybe start to send the gaze slightly forward. And then cat, draw the belly in, press the ground away, ears can come in line with the biceps. Think about creating space in the upper back between the shoulder blades. And then your choice, maybe move with the breath. Inhale to cow, lower the belly, gently lift the heart. Exhale to cat, pull the belly in, press the ground away. Or two, you can always hold cat or cow for as long as you want. So sometimes it feels nice to hold your cat back, find some space in the back of the body, maybe kind of wag your tail side to side. But take about 3 rounds of breath here. Feel free to add on, take away, seeing how your body is feeling right now. And then coming back into tabletop. So check out the hands, make sure they're underneath the shoulders, gently spread the fingers wide, grip your fingertips into the ground, and then keep the belly pulling in, and we'll extend the right leg long. So right toes will come to the ground, and you can find a calf stretch to start. Start to drive the heel away. See how that feels in the back of the right leg. Stay here, or maybe find movement. So you can kind of shift forward and back. Start to say hi to the shoulders, to the wrists. Good, and then coming back forward, shoulders will be on top of the wrists, and then you're going to kick your left leg behind you, because we're going to come into kneeling side plank. So left foot's going to kick behind you as you roll to the left side, coming to the inner side of your right foot, okay? Now you may want to walk your left hand slightly forward out in front of the left shoulder. You find a little more support there. And then both hands can stay on the ground, or maybe start to reach the right hand high. You can kind of find some movements here. Maybe find some big circles with the right arm, the right hand. So reach up and then circle it down. And then you can take the movements the other way, find circles. Good. And then any variation of kneeling side plank. Right hand can reach high, right hand can come to the hip, or lengthen out the right side, maybe reach your right arm up overhead, okay? But I want you to focus on here though is what's happening here in the belly. See if you're kind of flaring the belly forward. See if you can draw the belly in, so engaging the core muscles, lifting up to take the weight out of your left hand, okay? So try to shift the weight to the belly, really pulling the belly in, maybe lifting through the heart, maybe through the right fingertips. Good, and then take one more big inhale. As you exhale, release back to tabletop, coming back down, and then we're going to find child's pose. Knees can go wide, send the hips back, maybe relax the arms. Might feel good to flip the palms face up, kind of switch out the way the wrists are. Wiggle the jaw out, slow the breath down. And coming back to your focal points, maybe back to the breath. Bringing the mind back here, letting go of any judgment, any expectations. And then go ahead, take a deep inhale. Slowly let it go as you exhale. And whenever you're ready, coming back up. So we'll do the same thing on the other side. Stretch out the wrist, and then we'll start to add on a little bit. So go ahead, extend your left leg long. Toes will stay on the ground. Find a calf stretch. Drive the left heel away. So breathing into the back of the left calf. Really pressing the ground away. My daughter loves what notes underneath the door while I teach, so this is why you see the paper coming by the door here. And then you can add on, maybe shift forward and back. You might find some space in the toes, the arch of the foot, but also starting to warm up the shoulders and even kind of the wrists here. And then coming back forward, shoulders on top of the wrists, make sure your fingers, your hands are active. And then kneeling side plank. Okay, so I'll kind of show it from the front so you can kind of see. The right foot's gonna kick out behind you to the right side, and then you're gonna roll to the right, kind of stacking the left hip on top of the right, coming to the inside of your left foot. Okay, and then the right hand may wanna walk forward in front of the right shoulder. And then left hand can always stay on the ground, or maybe start to find some circles, reach the left fingertips high, circle it up and down. And then take those circles the other way. And then find your variation of a side plank. Left hand can be on the ground, left hand can be on the hip. Maybe left hand reaches high, or lengthen out the left side, reach your left arm up overhead. But see if you can keep pressing the ground away, pull the belly in. You might even kind of squeeze the glutes here. So you're trying not to let gravity pull you down into the right wrist. Trying to lift up using the core, the glutes, and the gaze can be wherever it feels best here. And take one more big inhale. As you exhale, slowly release, coming back down to tabletop, and then option for child's pose. Knees can go wide, big toes to touch, send the hips back. And then a couple options here. You can relax the arms, maybe fingertips work back towards the toes. You can even explore chest expansion grip, interlace the fingers. Maybe start to draw the knuckles to the wall behind you. Maybe kind of swaying here, rocking the head side to side. Try to relax through the jaw, slow the breath down. And then when you're ready, slowly release. Coming back up. And we'll come back into tabletop. So we're gonna add on to our kneeling side plank. We're going to add on kneeling half moon, so you can kind of see how it feels here with a little more support. So from tabletop, left side will be your base. So kneeling side plank to start, kick your left leg behind you and then extend the right leg long. Maybe walk your left hand out in front of you a little bit, and then right hand can come to the hip or maybe reach the right hand high. Okay, so a little bit of Pilates work here. Start to lift the right foot. So flex the right toes. This is kneeling half moon. Maybe add on a little bit. So start to lift the right leg, take an inhale, lower down towards a hover as you exhale. So inhale, lift the right leg high, exhale, lower back down. Couple more, inhale, lift, exhale, lower. Beautiful, inhale, lift, exhale, lower. Say hi to the glutes. Now inhale, lift, hold here, maybe add a little pulse. Tap your right leg towards the sky. Breathe into the outer hip, your right glute so strong. Last 3, 2, 1. Take an inhale, lift up, and then exhale, release back to tabletop. Beautiful work. Once in tabletop, kind of sway the hip side to side. Open and close the mouth. Let that side go. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So extend your left leg. Right side will be your base. Kneeling side plank. Right foot kicks out behind you. Maybe walk your right hand slightly in front of the right shoulder. And then left hand can stay down, come to the hip, or maybe reach the left hand high. Now right away, press the ground away, pull the belly in, making sure not arching the low back. And then you can stay here, or maybe start to float your left foot off the ground. So kneeling half moon, flex the left toes. You should feel that left glute muscle already working. Now stay here, or take an inhale, gently lift the left leg. As you exhale, lower the left leg down to a hover. Moving with the breath here. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower down. Good. One more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Now inhale, lift. Maybe add a little pulse, little taps with the left leg. Finding your glute muscles. Keep the belly pulling in. Last 3, 2, 1. Take a big inhale. Exhale, release back to tabletop. Awesome, awesome job. These are not easy. Sway the hip side to side. Open and close the mouth. And then before we come to a seat, let's stretch out the wrists. So fingertips can point towards the outer edges of the mat, kind of sway side to side, palms face down. And then remember, you can always stay here, maybe rotate the hands a little bit more. Fingertips can point to the knees. And same thing, kind of rock side to side here, maybe lean back a little bit. But finding the variation in the hands that feel best for you right now. And then when you're ready, slowly release, roll the wrists out, maybe make a fist, go one way, go the other. And then we'll focus on the tops of the wrist, forearms. So you can always take this, reverse prayer or pointing fingers down prayer grip, or palms to the ground, palms face up, fingertips point in, and then maybe kind of lean side to side. So making sure you're not dumping weight into the wrist, kind of try to lift up. Keep the belly pulling in. And then same thing, stay here, or maybe slide the fingertips or rotate the fingertips towards the knees. And then lift up, maybe send the hips back. Relax through the face, through the jaw. And you can stay here as long as you want. When you're ready, you can slowly release, roll the wrists out. Go one way, go the other. Good. And then let's get off the knees and the wrists for a little bit. So just roll yourself to a seat. So we're going to take seated figure 4. You can always take this on the back. It might be a little bit different from a seated position. You actually may feel it or you may not. So don't be afraid to come onto the back instead. We're going to kind of start with this figure 4 legs. So left leg will be extended out, and then grab for the right foot, place it right on top of the left thigh. Right foot is flexed, right knee is strong. You can gently press the right knee away. And then you can stay here, even kind of lean forward. Maybe that finds some space in the outer hips, the glutes. Or you're going to bend the left leg, hands will come behind you, and then left foot can come to the ground. Okay? So with this seated position, focusing on the spine as well. So try not to round or kind of slouch or, over arch. So still keep the spine neutral. And then I want you to find the variation where you can lengthen out this right glute. So you might have to really come into this pretzel position, walking the hands towards the low back, walking the left heel towards the glutes. And to remember, you can always come onto the back, especially if this is where you feel it for figure 4. We won't be here too long, 3 to 5 rounds of breath. Just kind of stretch out the glutes after all that work, and then we'll move on. Shoulders away from the ears, soften through the face, the jaw. One more round of breath, beautiful work. And then whenever you're ready, you can slowly release, slide the left leg forward, extend both legs, shake it out. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So right leg will stay straight, find your number 4, flex the left foot, place it right on top of the right thigh. Okay, and then you can always explore maybe hinging forward here. On this side I feel a lot more lengthening happening in the outer left hip, the left glute. Or figure 4, hands behind you, start to bend the right leg, placing your right foot on the ground. And same thing, try to keep the spine long, so lifting up, shoulders away from the ears, left knee gently presses away. Now find the spot where you can kind of stretch out the left side. Hands can always walk back towards the low back, or maybe slide the right heel towards you. But don't be afraid to come all the way down onto the back. 3, 5 rounds of breath here. Maybe find a little bit of movement, sway the legs, open and close the mouth. And then take one more big inhale. Stay for the exhale. Awesome job. And then when you're ready, slowly release, extend the right leg back long. And then extend the left, kind of shake it out. Beautiful work. And then we're going to take Savasana boat, and then we'll come into, high plank downward dog. So for boat pose, place your feet on the ground. Hands can come behind the thighs to start. And then lift the heart, soften the shoulders back right away, engage the belly, low belly pulls in. And then stay here, you're working, or maybe start to lean back a little bit. Okay, so the more you lean back, the more the core has to engage. But if you feel pulling in the low back, no worries, lift back up. Right, so really important, remember, not here to hurt ourselves, we're here to lengthen, build strength in the body, not here to force it. So just honoring where you're at right now. If you feel good here, you can always maybe lean back a little bit more. And then a couple options, heels can lift, still keeping the hands behind the thighs, or heels, feet can stay grounded, and maybe reach the hands forward. And we're gonna hold last 3 rounds of breath, but know at any point you can always come out. Try to keep the heart lifting, belly pulling in, soften the jaw, take a deep inhale. Stay for the exhale. Beautiful, last inhale breath. And then as you exhale, release, kind of grab for the legs, cross the ankles, and then edges of the feet are gonna press into the mat. So you can kind of rock yourself forward, planting the palms, lift those hips, step back, downward dog. So fun little transition there. If it didn't work, no worries. Let it go. Once in down dog, feel free to find some movement. Maybe pedal up the legs, sway the hips, shake your head yes, shake it no. Feel free to explore here in this first one, but just really keep the hands active so you're not dumping the weight forward. And then keep the belly pulling in so you're not kind of arching the low back. Relax the head and the neck. Maybe gently sway it, shake it yes, shake it no. And then you can find some stillness in down dog. But remember, down dog is a shoulder strengthener. So if you feel like the shoulders need a little extra love today, you can always come down into tabletop. No judgment. But press the ground away, pull the belly in. Feel free to bend the legs. And just gently drive the heels towards the ground. Don't worry if the heels don't touch. Then take a big inhale. If you need it, open mouth exhale. And then walk your hands all the way back to your toes. So ragdoll position, forward fold. Feet can be hip width distance, maybe a little wider. Bend the legs. And then feel free to interlace the fingers behind the head and kind of bring the chin towards the chest. Kind of breathing to the cervical spine, your neck, into the upper back. You can always stay here or any other variation of the arms, chest expansion grip. You can always walk the hands to the right, to the left. Gently shift the weight forward towards the balls of the feet. Keep a bend in the legs and then lift the hips. Say hi to the hamstrings, to the back body. And then when you're ready, slowly release. And we'll come into high plank. Walk the hands forward. Shoulders will be over the wrists. So from here, always an option to come onto the knees, especially if you're feeling like you're arching the low back and kind of pulling there. Find support, protect the low back. Draw the belly in. The knees are going to stay lifted. Drive the heels away, starting to activate the legs, the thighs. And then take one more big inhale. As you exhale, slowly lower, come all the way down to the ground. And then we'll find Sphinx pose. Come onto the forearms, elbows kind of underneath the shoulders, palms face down. Try to soften the fingertips a little bit. And then see if you can draw the elbows towards the ribs. Pull the belly in, grow tall through the crown of the head. So same thing, you don't want to be dumping the weight into the low back. Keep driving the belly in. And then you can stay here with the crown of the head lifting, or maybe stretch out the neck. Chin can come towards the chest. Really breathe into the back of the neck. Maybe little half circles, right ear towards the right side. Chin back to center, and then left ear towards the left side. Good. And then slowly back to center. Take an inhale, maybe send the gaze forward. And then as you exhale, lower down to the chest, slide the palms underneath the shoulders. So Cobra pose, Bhujangasana, first one. Feet will press down, and knees will start to lift. As you lift the knees, inner thighs are going to squeeze in. So legs are working. And then send the shoulder blades down the spine. Find some space between the shoulders and the ears. And then as you inhale, little lift of the chest, not going high here. If you feel pinching, pulling in the low back, don't be afraid to lower down. You can just gently draw the hands into the ground to lift up, or maybe float the hands and really focus on strengthening the spine, the belly, and the legs. Making sure to breathe. Take one more big inhale. As you exhale, lower back down. Beautiful. Let's do 2 more with your breath if you want them. Inhale, Cobra, Bhujangasana, gently lift up. And then exhale, lower down. Last one if you need it. Inhale, Cobra. Find strength in the spine here, belly in. And then exhale, lower back down. Okay, we're going to find our way into child's pose, however that feels best. Tuck the toes under, maybe press up, or come onto the forearms, start to kind of wiggle yourself up. Knees wide, send the hips back. If child's pose doesn't feel right, or if the heart rate is up, don't be afraid to take a seat. Let's slow it down. Coming back to your focal point. Seeing if you need to adjust. And then take a deep inhale, send the breath to the back body. Feel the back expand. And then big exhale, maybe find a little more length in the spine. Crown of the head reaches forward. And then stay here as long as you want. When you're ready, tabletop or back to down dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Take a breath or two there, reset. And then we're going to come towards the top of the mat. So heels can lift, finding some space. Gaze to the top, bend the legs, walk, step all the way to the top. Once you reach the top of your mats, you can find a halfway lift. Maybe palms to your shins or to the blocks. Shoulder blades down the spine, crown of the head reaching forward. Gaze it straight down, maybe add a little tuck of the chin. Take a big inhale. Forward fold, release, let it go. Keep a little bend in the legs, slowly rising. Let your blood pressure reset here. If you want, when you reach the top, maybe reach the arms up overhead, extended Tadasana, big inhale, breath. And then as you exhale, hands to heart, Samasthiti, standing at attention. So feel free to adjust in Tadasana, mountain pose. Maybe feet are a little bit less than hip width, maybe big toes to touch. But hands can come to the heart or off to the side. And then see if you can really activate the legs here, or find that balance between, you're not over gripping, but you're not active. So little lift through the arches, the inner arches of the feet. Navel pulls in and up. Shoulders soften down. Crown of the head lengthens. Take a deep inhale. If you need it, open mouth, exhale. Good. Surya Namaskar A. Inhale, extend it to Tadasana. Reach the arms back up overhead. Maybe gaze up. Exhale, forward fold. A little bit in the legs, riding the breath all the way down. Inhale to your halfway lift. Palms to the shins, belly in. Long spine, strong spine. High plank, plant the palms, step your feet back. Now maybe come onto the knees. We're going to come to the ground. Take an inhale. Slowly lower down to your mat as you exhale. Right away, cobra pose one time. Inhale, Bhujangasana. Feet grounded, knees lifted, shoulders down the spine. And then when you're ready, slowly release. Good. Take your time. We're going to meet in downward dog. So tuck the toes under. You can always press up into tabletop. And then downward facing dog. Send the hips high. Adho Mukha. Take a breath here. Reset. Maybe shake the head yes, shake it no. And then come into the top. Lift your heels, gaze forward. Bend the legs. Step, walk. Make your way to the top of your mat. No rush. Once you're at the top, inhale, halfway lift, long spine, little tuck of the chin, neck is long. Exhale, forward fold, release. Keep a little bend in the legs, rooting down, rising up. Big inhale, extended Tadasana, belly still pulling in. Exhale, hands to heart, Samasthiti. Get a couple breaths here, check in, see if you need to adjust. And then one more, Surya Namaskar A, Sun A. Feel free to add on, take away, or maybe skip. When you're ready, big inhale, extended Tadasana, reach the arms high. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold, ride it down. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha, hands to shins or to the blocks. Belly, front ribs pull in. Exhale, high plank, plant the palms, step your feet back. Feel free to come onto the knees here, find support. Take an inhale, slowly lower all the way down to the ground. Good. Feet press down, knees lift, big inhale, Bhujangasana. Shoulders down the spine, gaze is down, maybe out in front. And then as you exhale, lower down. Finding your way to downward dog. Take your time here, however you need to get there. Tuck the toes under. Feel free to use the knees. Kind of pressing up, tabletop or high plank. And then downward facing dog, hips go high. Check in, see if you need to adjust. And then working your way to the top of your mat. Lift your heels, gaze forward. Bend the legs, step, walk all the way to the top. Once you're there, take an inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. A little bend in the legs, inhale, rising, extended Tadasana. Exhale, hands to heart, Samasthita, standing at attention. Beautiful job. Taking some time here, maybe kind of little half circles, open and close the mouth. Beautiful work. Good. And then we're going to kind of move on. So really a lot of prep work for half moon. So I'm just going to kind of switch sides so you can see me, but we're going to step back into Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. So anywhere on your mat, top of the mat, right foot will be forward, step your left foot back. Okay. So focusing on the legs to start, hands can always just rest here, or arms can rest, but right toes will point forward, left toes point diagonally to the left side. Okay, and the stance can be as long or as short as you need it. Okay, and then checking in with the right knee, see where the right knee is kind of reaching to. You know, if it's kind of drawing in, see if you can gently press the knee towards the wall behind you. So creating some space here in the inner thigh. And then try not to lock the left leg. I do this, I lock my left knee, a little bit in the left leg, thinking about lifting through the arch of the left foot. Now, Mula Bandha, these bandhas are energy locks in the body. So it's a place where you can really use the energy to lift up. So think about driving the right heel and the left arch towards the center, or towards one another. So you should feel that inner thigh activation from the inner thighs to the pelvis lifting you up. So a lot is happening here in the legs. Nice, strong, powerful stance. And then maybe hands to the hips, hands at heart. If you want to work the shoulders, maybe find your Warrior 2 arms. Right arm reaches forward, left arm reaches back. Make sure the shoulders aren't towards the ears. Relax the shoulders down, and then see if you can really reach through the fingertips. And then take a big inhale. Stay for the exhale. And then reverse warrior. Flip the right palm, reach up and back. Left hand can go down the thigh. Keep the lunge in the right knee, but lifting up out of the right hip. Maybe gaze goes down. Try to relax the jaw. And then take one more big inhale as you exhale back to Warrior 2. Okay? Now, side angle pose. Right forearm can come to right thigh, and then left hand can reach down, and then circle up overhead. So a couple options here. Left hand can reach high, kind of like we did a kneeling side plank, or maybe lengthen the left side, reach your left arm up overhead. So this is an intense posture. Try not to dump the weight into the right side, so you can kind of lift up, pulling the belly in. Try not to arch the low back. And as best you can, so you can kind of soften the left shoulder. Don't be afraid to reach the left fingertips high. Gaze can be down, maybe to the side, maybe up, your choice. Take a big inhale. Stay for the exhale. And now 5-point star. You're going to burst open, turn the right toes in, take up space, maybe gaze up, take an inhale. Hands to heart, horse squat. Turn the heels in, toes out, start to bend the legs. And then right away, you can go ahead and place your hands on the thighs. Someone the other day called this posture happy camper, so kind of liked it. So just kind of be a happy camper here, sway side to side. Just see how the inner thighs feel. Try to relax through the face, through the jaw. And then you can stay here with the hands on the thighs, or maybe start to lift up and place your right hand on the belly, left hand on the low back. Okay, so in this kind of sumo squat, see if you're kicking your butt out behind you and really arching the low back. See if you can kind of draw the belly in. You should feel the pelvis kind of rock forward, and the knees are going to press out. So inner thighs are lifting up. So you're not overarching the low back, finding a lot of strength here in the legs. And then you can always place the hands back at the heart. Not here too much longer. Take an inhale. Soften the toes. Sit a little bit lower as you exhale. Good. Back to 5-point star. Lifting up. Toes will turn in, heels out. Hands can be up overhead or hands at the hips. Take an inhale, breath. And then as you exhale, wide-legged forward fold. Ride it down all the way to your mat. Hands to the ground, to your blocks, or maybe to a chair. And for the first couple rounds of breath, feel free to find movement, maybe some side lunges. Bending into the right leg, breathing into the inner thigh, and then taking it over to the left side, breathing into the inner right thigh. So you can kind of go right to left here. Maybe hold. We'll take about 3 to 5 rounds of breath here. Exploring movement or hanging out in the fold. If you are in the fold, try to keep the toes turning in, heels out. A little bend in the legs. And then see if you can kind of lift from the tailbone. Try to let the upper body, the head be heavy as best as you can. And 2, you can always adjust your stance here. Walk the feet away, walk the feet together. See how that feels. Beautiful. And then hands will come underneath the shoulders. We're going to come to the top of the mat for lizard lunge. So start to pivot all 10 toes forward. Hands will come to the inside of your right foot. Okay? So I'm going to walk to the inside of the right foot. Right foot's at the edge of the mat. Maybe toes off the mat, heel on. And then feel free to come onto the left knee. All right? So lizard lunge can be a real intense posture. So as best as you can. Coming back to the focal point, maybe coming back to the breath. But know at any point you can always venture out. Okay, so you can always let the hips be heavy. Maybe come onto blocks. Forearms are onto blocks or the ground. But you're going to find a lot of space here in the hips. In the inner right hip, maybe the top of the left hip, the psoas. And as best you can, relax the fingers. Try to send the shoulders away from the ears. Maybe open and close the mouth. Last 3 rounds of breath. As best as you can. Coming back to your focal point. Hoping the mind to be focused, to be here. But know you can always venture out. And one more big inhale. Breathe into the hips as you exhale. And then whenever you're ready, slowly release. Place your blocks or anything off to the side. And then you're going to tuck the left toes under. Right? And this is a great place to kind of walk your left foot forward a little bit. So even hands can come to your blocks. But you're going to step your left foot to meet the right. Kind of coming into a shortened horse squat or malasana, garland pose, yogi squat. So heels on the mat, toes can be off, and then just slowly start to sit the hips back again. If you have a block, you can always place it underneath you and kind of sit on that block. Heels can always be lifted, and then hands can come to heart. Okay, so there's a lot of variation here, right? So I have really open hips, so I can sit all the way down, right? If you're not there yet, no worries. You can always sit on a block. You can always have the heels lifted, and you can even be uplifted even higher. Okay, so finding this yogi squat that feels best for you right now. Last 2 rounds of breath. If you can sit the hips all the way down, see if you can kind of lift up out of the pelvis. And then when you're ready, release hands to the ground, to the blocks, lift the hips high, walk the feet in, forward fold. Shake it out. Let that side go. And then just slowly roll yourself up. Let the head be heavy, the arms heavy. Once you reach the top, maybe roll the shoulders up and down, roll the head and the neck. Good. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. Virabhadrasana 2. So left foot will stay forward, step your right foot back. Okay, so left toes point forward, right toes point diagonally to the right side. And then hands can just rest off to the side to start, focusing on the legs. So left knee is going to gently press away, finding space in the inner thigh. And that also will turn on the glute a little bit. And then see if you can pull the left and the right foot towards the midline. Finding strong engagement through the inner thighs, through Mula Bandha, that pelvic floor, energy lift, energy lock. Bandha means lock. And then any variation of the arms. You can always flip the palms face up. Try to soften the shoulders a little bit. Gaze can go wherever it feels good for you. And just feel how strong this posture is. Strong warrior, Virabhadrasana. Take a deep inhale. Stay for the exhale. Then inhale, reverse warrior. Flipping the left palm if it's not, reaching up and over, lengthening through the left side. Gaze down, maybe up. See how that feels on the neck. Keep the belly pulling in, lifting up out of the left hip. Then take a big inhale. Reach up and back as you exhale. Back to warrior two, take your time. And then extended side angle. Left forearm to thigh. Right hand can reach down and then circle high. So any variation of the right hand, maybe reach it towards the ceiling. If you want to lengthen through the right side, maybe your right hand reaches up and then over. Keep the belly pulling in so you're not arching the low back. And then really trying to lift off the left thigh. Gaze down to the side, maybe up. So strong. Big inhale. Stay for the exhale. Slowly 5-point star. So coming back up to standing, bursting open. Left toes turn in. And then horse squat one more time. So heels in, toes out. Right away, hands can come to the inner thighs, maybe sway side to side. Or option for the twist here. So as you inhale, lift up. As you exhale, twist to the right. Left shoulder can reach towards the right knee. And then as you inhale, come back up to center. Exhale, twist to the left. Right shoulder draws towards the left side. And then you can move with the breath. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist. You can always hold. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist. And then coming back to center, last time horse. Sometimes it's called goddess as well. But inner thighs roll up, really pull the belly in so you're not arching the low back. Hands can come to heart. So strong. Take an inhale. Stay for the exhale. Good. And then coming back up, 5-point star. Toes turn in, heels out, maybe hands to the hips. Take an inhale breath. And then as you exhale, release, forward fold. Ride it down. Wide-legged forward fold. And then your choice on this side. Last time you're here. So feel free to find movement. Maybe keep the legs straight this time. Walking the hands to the right, to the left. But whatever feels best for you. You can even just hang out, like gravity do the work. But make sure you keep a bend in the legs as much as you need it. And gently lift from the tailbone. And then coming back to your focal point. Last 2 rounds of breath. Awesome work, everyone. And then when you're ready, hands can come underneath you. Lizard lunge, top of the mat. Left foot will be forward. So walk your hands to the inside of the left foot. Left foot can walk all the way over to the edge of the mat. Left heel on, toes off. And then you can come onto the right knee. So just making sure the left knee is behind your left toes. And then hands can come to your blocks, maybe a chair. You can always come onto your forearms as well if you have the space today. But you can really let the pelvis kind of be heavy. Keep the shoulders away from the ears as best as you can. Soften the fingers, the jaw. And breathing here to the inner left thigh. You might find some length here in the right psoas as well, the front of the right hip. And remind yourself, you can be here for as long as you want, but at any point, you can always leave as well. Please do not force it if it doesn't feel right today. Last 3 rounds of breath. Coming back to your focal points, your intention, whatever that may be. Bringing the mind back here with the body. Take a deep inhale. Breathe into the hips as you exhale. Awesome work. Stay if you want. When you're ready, you can slowly lift back up. And then you can tuck the back toes under. Lifting the right knee. Maybe kind of walk that right foot forward slightly. Hands can come to the blocks. And then you're going to step top of your mat to Malasana. Frog squats, heels in, toes out. Maybe sit the hips back. So go as far back as you want. Heels can always be lifted. Maybe hands come to hearts. And so you can kind of grow tall through the crown of the head. Maybe use the elbows to press into the inner thighs. Last 2 rounds of breath here. Beautiful work. And then when you're ready, release. Hips can go high, hands to the ground, forward fold. Walk the toes in, kind of shake it out, open and close the mouth. Beautiful work. And then whenever you're ready, you can roll yourself up, taking your time. Once you reach the top, roll the shoulders up and down, maybe roll the head and the neck. Beautiful. All right, so let's try half moon, Ardha Chandrasana. So if you have a block, great place to use it. If you have a wall, you can definitely watch what I'm gonna do, and then you can always move to the wall, okay? So remember, kneeling half moon kind of took in the beginning of class. You can take kneeling half moon as well. But what you're gonna kind of do is trying to think of your body kind of like in one plane, right? So kind of everything's stacked, but it doesn't have to be stacked. But you can kind of think if you're looking at someone from the front in half moon, their body would be in one line. This is why it's nice to use the wall, because you're gonna wanna lift up and open, okay? So we'll start with the right foot forward, and right away, place your hand on the block and step your left foot back. So think of, extended side angle here. Left hand can come to the hip, okay? And you can always, you can feel the wall behind you right away. Your right glute might be kind of reaching to the back wall to keep the belly in, okay? And then you can stay here, or maybe really kind of reach the block forward, shift the weight into the right foot, kind of walk the left toes in, maybe start to lift up, half moon. So lift your left leg as high as you want, and then right away flex your left toes. Remember, find that little lift with the left leg, activating the glutes. And then gaze can stay down, that might help with balance. And then check and see if you're dumping weight into the right hand. Like you did before, shift the weight to the belly, pulling the belly and working your core to lift up. Maybe left hand goes high, any variation here. Try not to lock the right leg, but lift up, maybe kind of lean back, feel the support of the wall behind you. If you don't have a block, right hand can always be on the ground, bend the right knee as much as you need it. One more big inhale, and then as you exhale, slowly release, step your left foot back. Awesome job, lift back up. Woo! Beautiful work, shake it out. Awesome, awesome job. Same thing other side, take your time. Face the other side of the wall. Left hand will come to a block. Left toes will be pointed forward. Kind of find that side angle position. Left hand to the block, right hand to the hip. Okay? So feel that wall behind you if you're using it. And then kind of start to shift the weight into the left foot. So maybe reach the block even further forward. And then start to lift off the back toes. Half moon, Ardha Chandrasana. Right away, flex the right foot. Maybe add a little lift with the right leg, finding the glutes. But once again, find that upward lift. So the belly's going to really pull in, maybe come up high to the left fingertips to lift up out of the left wrist. Gaze can stay down, that might help with balance. You can always reach the right hand high if you want to work the shoulder, but any variation. Try to keep a bend in the left leg, lifting from the inner arch of the left foot. And then lift up, maybe start to lean back a little bit. One more big inhale. And then when you're ready, slowly releasing, stepping it back. Woo. Lifting back up. Awesome job. Beautiful, beautiful work. Grab some water. Shake it out, let it go. And then when you're ready, you can come to the top of the mat. Roll the shoulders up and down. And you kind of roll the head and the neck. We're finding Tadasana mountain pose. Feel free to close the eyes or send your gaze to something in front of you. But let all that stuff go. Let go of half moon. And then take a deep inhale, fill up. Open mouth, exhale, let it go. Beautiful. Big inhale, extended Tadasana. Reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Hinge at the hips. Ride the breath. Come all the way down. And then take an inhale, halfway lift, long spine, high plank. Plant the palms, step your feet back. Good. From here, take a big inhale. Downward facing dog, hips high as you exhale. You know that tabletop is there for you as well, but pedal it out. Shake the head yes, shake it no. And then let's stretch out the glutes after all that work. All right, so pigeon pose or figure four. So for pigeon, you can start to bring the right knee to the right wrist. Your right ankle will kind of kick to the middle of the mat, kind of kick over to the left side. So making sure, you're not on the right heel, making sure the ankle's off to the side. And then extend your left leg long behind you. Toes will point all the way to the back wall. And then your choice. You can stay here lifted. You might find some space in the front of the left hip. You can always slide a blanket or a pillow underneath the right hip, just bringing the ground closer to you. And then stay or option to sleep your pigeon. So coming down to the forearms, maybe down to the ground. Forehead can always relax on a block on the mat. And I like to find some movement here. So feel free to maybe kind of rock the hips side to side. See how that feels. So find a spot where you can kind of really lengthen out the outer right hip, the right glute. After all that work in half moon. And remember, if pigeon pose doesn't feel right today, you can always come into that seated figure four or figure four on your back. We have about 5 more rounds of breath here, so as best as you can, get nice and comfortable. Coming back to your focal point. The mind is off thinking, no worries. Bring it back. Take a deep inhale. Let it go as you exhale. And then whenever you're ready, you can slowly start to lift up. And then we're going to gently press back up into tabletop, into down dog. So take your time, maybe kind of slide that right leg back and then tuck the toes under. Maybe sway the hips in tabletop or down dog. Let that side go. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side, pigeon pose or figure four. So for pigeon, left knee will come to the left wrist. Kick your ankle, your heel towards the middle, towards the right side of the mat. And then start to extend the right leg long. So you want to make sure you're not, the left heel is kind of underneath the left hip. So making sure you're not resting on the left foot. You can always slide a pillow or a blanket underneath the left glutes. Feel support. And then your choice. You can stay here lifted as long as you want. Know that this is a back bend. So keep the belly pulling in. Try to relax the shoulders. And then you can always stay here or maybe start to come all the way down. Forehead to the ground or to a block. Your fists, your forearms. But checking in with those tension areas. Relax the fingers. Maybe open and close the mouth. See where the shoulders are at. And then feel free to find some movement. Maybe sway the hips side to side. But as best as you can, especially in pigeon, see if you can relax the glutes to allow the hips to get nice and heavy. And know that even if you didn't do figure four on the right, you can always take figure four here on the left. We're really starting to slow things down, breathing into the hips, the glutes. And if the mind is off thinking, no worries, bring it back to your focal point. Take a deep inhale. Let it all go as you exhale. Last round of breath here. And then whenever you're ready, Your choice. You can take one more tabletop or down dog, or maybe just roll to the left side, swing the right leg out in front of you, and then we'll come all the way down onto our backs. If you have a block, you can take it with you. I'll give you the option for supported bridge. If you don't have a block, no worries. But come onto your back, maybe send the knees to the chest, kind of rock side to side here. Open and close the mouth. So final back bend of class. This can be active or, passive, relaxed. So if you want and you have a block, maybe supported bridge. This is one of my favorite postures. Feels great. If you don't have a block, you can always take active bridge as well. So for bridge pose, bend the legs, feet about hip width distance. And if you have a block, maybe the lowest height, maybe the medium height, slide it right underneath the low back. Kind of like that flat part of your low back, your sacrum. And maybe snug the shoulder blades up underneath you, really opening up through the chest. Maybe let the head rock heavy side to side. If you have that block underneath you, hang out, let the block do the work. If you're taking an active bridge and you don't have a block, no worries. You can still hold here, just drive the heels down, lifting through the hips. Find a height that feels good for you. And then hold there, but see if you can draw the inner thighs in without actually moving the legs. So just finding, support from your muscles. The legs, the spine, the core, to help you hold bridge pose, to help you hold this back bend. And then we'll be here for about 5 rounds of breath. So if you are active, know that you can stay for as long as you want. But you can always venture out whenever you are ready. If the mind is off wandering, no worries. Note that and then bring it back. Take a deep inhale. Slowly let it go as you exhale. And then you can stay here in supported bridge as long as you want. When you're ready though, release, come all the way down. And then Supta Baddha Konasana, butterfly pose, soles of the feet together, knees can go wide. Maybe right hand to the heart, left hand to the belly. A little back bend is happening here, so just allow the spine to relax, but know that there is a little bend there. We're just coming back to the breath, feeling that rise and fall of the chest of the belly. And then feel free to stay here, or constructive rest pose, grab for the outer thighs, gently close the legs, bringing the knees together, and then walk your feet to the outer edges of your mat. So find that triangle position in the legs, and then maybe cactus your arms up overhead. This should kind of lengthen out the low back. Low back will jaw towards the ground. Maybe rock the head side to side, giving the back of the head a nice massage, the back of the skull. You can even start to find movement in the legs, send the legs to the right and then to the left, kind of windshield wipering the legs. And then lastly, finding our gentle twist. So knees come back to center, bring the knees together, the feet together, so maybe legs together, or you can always cross the right leg on top of the left. But hips will slide to the right as you send your knees to the left. Just finding any twist that feels good here. You can always unwind the legs, stack the knees, and then making sure not to force it here. It's okay if the knees, the shoulder do not touch the ground. Good. Final rinse on this side. Gaze can be up or maybe chin gently falls to the right. And then taking one more big inhale. Gently twist, let it all go as you exhale. And then when you're ready, slowly release, unwind. Come back to center, find the twist on the other side, legs together or cross the left leg on top of the right, hips slide to the left, knees to the right. Making sure to adjust on this side, finding any position that feels good. Gaze up or maybe chin gently falls to the left. And twisting is not only really, detoxifying for the body, for the digestive system, but it can also be detoxifying for the mind as well. So if there's any final thoughts, any judgment, expectations you may be holding on to, give the mind the permission here to let them go. Releasing anything from the body, from the mind that no longer serves you. And then take a deep inhale. Gently twist. Let it go as you exhale. And then slowly coming back to center. And then lastly, option for a nice inversion. So this can be legs up the wall. You can move to the wall, place your legs on the wall, or even just lift your legs up overhead. You can grab your block again at the lowest height, place it underneath you, finding waterfall pose, lifting the legs. But you can grab for the back of the thighs, maybe roll the ankles, shake the legs out. But finding any organic movements here, any other postures that feel good. You can even reach the arms up overhead and shake the arms out. Reach them towards the sky, whatever feels good. But allowing the fluid from the feet to the ankles to run down the legs, towards the heart, towards the brain. This is a great posture to do at any point in your day, especially if you feel maybe a little tired, kind of reversing blood flow. And then you can stay as long as you want. But when you're ready, you can slowly release. An option to curl into a ball, giving yourself a big hug, thanking yourself for being here today, for showing up, for listening to your body. Take a big inhale, squeeze it all together. And then when you're ready, slowly release and find your way into Savasana, corpse pose. Taking up as much space as you want, let the arms and the legs go long. Maybe place blocks, or you can roll up a blanket, place it underneath the knees. Start to wiggle the shoulder blades underneath you. Open and close the mouth, soften through the face, the jaw. But then start to let the body get nice and heavy. Relaxing through the toes, the feet. Soften the legs, the thighs, the glutes. Relax the belly, the low back. Soften the shoulders, the chest. Relax the upper arms, the lower arms, the elbows. Relax the hands, the fingers. Let the head be heavy. Soften the jaw, the space between the eyebrows. And then once the body has relaxed, giving the space to just be here. Carry that space, that relaxation up into the mind. Taking some last few moments here to just be. Taking some time to find some well-deserved rest. If the mind is off wandering, thinking, no worries. Just being mindful of it and then bringing it back. No judgment, coming back to your focal point. If you have some extra time, please feel free to stay in your Savasana for as long as you would like. If you are ready to be guided out, slowly start to deepen your breath. Then start to bring small movements back in. Wiggle the fingers, the toes. Maybe start to roll the ankles, the wrists. Let the head rock heavy side to side. And an option to take a nice full body stretch. Reach the arms up overhead, send the legs long, take some wiggles. And then you can draw the knees to the chest. Feel free to rock onto your favorite side for fetal pose, using the bottom arm as a pillow. Allowing here for rebirth, a nice clean slate. And then when you're ready, you can gently press up to a seat, crossing at the ankles, or sitting on the shins. But maybe find some movement, roll the shoulders up and down, maybe a little half circle in the head and the neck. Hands can rest on the thighs, or hands can come to heart center for Anjali Mudra, sealing in our practice. And then taking some time here to thank yourself. Thank yourself for showing up, for practicing today, but thank yourself for being here, present with the body as best as you could. Take a deep inhale, fill up with gratitude, kindness for yourself. Open mouth, exhale, share it off, send it to someone who needs it. And then I thank you all for being here, for sharing your practice. I thank yoga for bringing us together. From my heart to yours, with gratitude, I bow. Thank you, thank you. Awesome job, everyone.